we at war.
DRX, lock and load.
Yeah. We at war, we at war.
Going to war.
Yeah.
No cap.
We at war.
Big snuggler.
Yeah.
King cuddler.
We at war, we at war.
Let's go.
Yeah. NFTs, nuts. It's a drug war, all info, guns drawn to the mother.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, good morrow, as we said last time, but I can't think of anything else. Welcome to the Drug Wars Daily Recap with myself and Arlo, who is feeling a little under the weather today. How are you, Arlo?
Feeling a little crummy today, but good day to you, sir.
Good day, good sir. Yes. Well, we will do our best to not make this too much of a burden on Arlo so we can get some rest time in.
I'm happy to do it.
All right. So it's been an eventful 48 hours or so as we move into the very much the business end of the competition. Every time I look at the screen, I feel like I've just watched those guys battle like yesterday, and they're battling again today. So it feels like it's kind of, it's just get in the ring, back-to-back battles.
It's the unrelenting march of war. Just keeps going.
Yeah, even when you feel like you need a break, a rest, to rally the troops and get your strategy for the next scrimmage together, it's already upon you. So it's
no rest for the weary.
It's
keep
a happening thing.
Keep marching.
Keep marching. Today we've got some exciting stuff happening. We actually know who the first winners of divisions are.
Yep.
Which is cool. So we're going to go through that, and we'll find out who gets to battle bosses in the bonus boss rounds. And we also will announce another one of the bosses today who will be staking up a pretty significant bounty and taking on one of the lucky teams. So without further ado, unless there's anything that you've got to drop, Arlo, before we get into the actual cap of the recap cap.
How much cap would a recap cap if a recap could cap? So we started with 64 teams. There are 8 divisions, 1A, 1B, all the way through 4A and 4B. And so what we're announcing today are the winners of those divisions. We're down to the final 16 teams. And so the teams that we announced today, all the matchups that we're going through over today and tomorrow, these are for division titles. And each division winner gets to face a boss. They get the bonus round where they face a boss. Bosses can't knock you out of a tournament. It's just another opportunity to pick up a bounty off of a boss. So there is stuff on the line here. These are matches of consequence.
Mm-hmm. It's all happening. Here we go. Oh, this is kind of the moment we've been waiting for. It felt like this was miles away just a few weeks ago, but now it's all happening. Okay, let's have a look.
And there's still bounties out there. I mean, but the bosses is one thing, but we've also got there's still a lot of bounties out there. So that also remains to be seen if any bounties are being claimed.
It feels like sometime around 48 hours from now, it's just going to start raining prizes. And it's not going to stop until the end of this thing, right? All right, let's have it.
Oh, whoa, I guess I froze. Did you hear me? Did I say anything about bosses?
No.
Sorry. In the last round of competition, there were 6 bosses, and only 1 bounty was claimed. That means all those bosses made it through the next round. Before long, basically every matchup is going to be a boss not a boss. It's going to be a double agent versus a double agent. So whoever wins is going to pick up something.
Yes, it's just everywhere. Like you can't help but step on some kind of mine, right? Oh, there's a reference back to Don's little thing. Yes, but you can't help it. If you've made it this far, there's a very, very good chance you're going to start winning some prizes from here on in. So it's pretty exciting stuff. All right. Yep. I know that producer is itching to get it up. There it is again. The battle card for the round of 16 divisions 1 and 2, which has just fought. We had Serengeti out of here take on Verde's Vixens. The Johnniest went up against Freed from Addiction. Search and Rescue had a go at No Cap, We at War, and Pink Riot had a go at M&M's. And here comes the results. So in the first battle, before we get into the results, I think it's important to note that our validation system seems to be working pretty well, and there were no changes that were required in this round. So it looks like everybody's kind of settled in.
Clear, the vote totals do change a little bit. What we're reading are the final votes that came in according to the software on the site. The actual audited votes probably are a little bit different, but none of the outcomes change, so it's really of not of much consequence.
Yeah, just a handful of vote corrections. That's all that took place this time round. So no changes to any of the outcomes. So the winners for your viewing pleasure in the first battle, producer, please. We had Serengeti out of here taking down Verde's Vixens. Tough matchup, big fight. What was the score on that one?
The score on this was 58 for Serengeti out of here against 45 for Verde's Vixens. Both of these team managers actually still have a couple of cards, or at this point had a couple of cards still in the hunt. So Verde's Vixens, although they're out, that team manager still has a chance to
in it,
moving on in the tournament.
Right.
And
so
Serengeti out of here. Serengeti out of here. That means that Serengeti out of here is the 1A division winner.
Taking on a boss.
Yeah, they're going to take on a boss, and then so they're going to take on a boss.
And it's
congratulations
to Serengeti. Yes, Serengeti out of here makes it through, winning the Division 1A, and also interesting there, no bounties again. So the bounties cruise on through, or keep on trucking. So we have our first division winner with Serengeti out of here. That's a big announcement. All right, who got through division? The next battle for Division 1B, we had Freed from Addiction triumphing over the Johnniest. Oh, and some might see that, Arlo, as a significant upset.
I don't know. So the team owner for the Johnniest, right? That's Acro. That he also had Serengeti out of here. And Acro certainly, from the moment this contest was conceived of, was seen as a top contender. I'm not sure that the Johnniest was going to be his number one seeded card. As we saw, Serengeti out of here moved on. The Johnniest got knocked out. But Freed from Addiction has emerged as a major contender. So that's the only reason I don't think that this really is an upset. And Freed from Addiction was so active with propaganda here over the last 24, 48 hours. The messaging is great, talking about help for people that are suffering from addiction. The card is really well curated. I mean, it's a really, really strong card. So this I would not consider an upset. Now, what's interesting is, we mentioned that the Johnniest maybe was not Acro's number one seed. In the next round, Acro's got to go up against Freed from Addiction again. So Serengeti out of here is going to face Freed from Addiction. Yeah, when the Division 1A and Division 1B winners face each other. So that one is going to be a really heavyweight bout there between these two.
Back-to-back battles against boss owners, against team owners. That's it can only happen here in Drug Wars. So pretty challenging stuff. And I agree. I think Free from Addiction is such a cleverly put together team. Such a great idea, some brilliant lore. Really, really going to be a challenging team all the way through. But Serengeti out of here, is Serengeti out of here the last standing Siren squad?
We'll have to have our producers confirm that. I don't know.
We'll have to have our producers confirm that. It's nothing like throwing the producers under the bus. Okay, let's have a look at the next battle. Serenity Prayer is still in the game, I believe. So there is still another Siren squad, and here we have No Cap We at War triumphing over the mighty Search and Rescue. No Cap flexing their might here. What was the scores on this one?
60 for No Cap We at War against 40 for Search and Rescue.
Yeah, that's a significant margin. So a pretty strong victory there, and we now have No Cap taking on a boss, which will be an interesting battle to see indeed, coming through thick and fast.
So yes, so No Cap moves on to the boss round. I'm going to hold off 1 second on what the other implications are of No Cap winning here, but Search and Rescue and No Cap, these are two really strong cards, two strong teams. But this probably also shows you kind of power of really great propaganda. So when No Cap dropped the track, I think that just generated a lot of momentum, a lot of goodwill. That's just they've been able to keep rolling with, and that is true of another team as well that we're about to talk about.
Yeah, I wonder if that is the same case. Is it just the team that the track, the propaganda, the power of the propaganda? Is that what has rallied, so many people behind the team? Is it the curation? It's hard to tell, right? We've got new people coming into the competition. We're seeing a lot of new wallets that we've never seen before voting in the competition. So it's a mystery to see what is driving the support. But yeah, definitely hard to go up against somebody who's created an entire metastar and dropped a track specifically for the competition. That's a pretty big play.
Well, there's some interesting things. I think if we go to the next matchup, it'll help us to add some more color and context to this discussion. But so the team owner for No Cap We at War also had a team in the next matchup.
Mm-hmm.
So just in case you think, well, maybe it's someone who's got so much support, so whatever team they've got is going to get a lot of votes. Producer, if we can look at the next matchup,
and there it is. Oh, and a bounty goes off.
Wow.
Look at that. Nice,
Wow.
Very nice. So M&M's taking on Pink Riot. What was the victory there? A bounty has been revealed. A bounty against Pink Riot.
Awesome. So M&M's picks up the Buzzies there. Cool. So listen to this margin of victory. I mean, it's giant. It's 78 against 23.
Jesus,
and
that's a thumping.
Yeah, and so that's kind of my point. So Pink Riot is owned by the same team owner that owns No Cap We at War. So it's not just the strength of their audience, or it's not just about which team owner people like. M&M's is also a team that dropped a track that had really influential and sick propaganda. And so what this sets up now is the 2A 2B matchup. It's the one that we all were looking at from the very beginning once we saw the brackets. But yes, M&M's are going to face No Cap We at War. So the two rap tracks that were dropped for the Drug Wars, Drug Wars from M&M's and We at War from No Cap, they're going to face each other. Now we will see. This is one of the ones we've definitely been looking forward to.
It's about 3 days away, right? But 3 or 4 days away, that battle. So we've got a day break after this one while we load up and prepare ourselves for the boss rounds. The boss rounds are a couple of days worth of fights. And then we will move into the real business end of the competition, right? The semi-finals, quarterfinals. So yes, a big bout coming up in a few days' time, and that gives each of those team owners a little chance to prepare some propaganda. Those team owners feel free to reach out to the Drug Overlords if there's some if you would like to take advantage of this platform or our Twitter Spaces or our podcast in order to drive up some hype and excitement around your teams. We'd love to see it. Interesting to note that the M&M's team seems to be on a significant role here through Drug Wars. They are powering on. That is their second bounty that they've claimed in the competition.
Oh, really? Nice.
So even though very few bounties have gone off, that team seems to be on a railroad to take out anyone and everyone that gets in their way, bounty or not. So yeah.
That makes me, now you mentioned that, I'm curious, did that team owner... Okay, I just want to make sure we didn't give them 2 Buzzies. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it looks like their last bounty was not Buzzies. Okay, cool.
Amazing. All right, there it is. Those are the first 4 teams that are taking on bosses. Before we get into the next 4 teams that will also... Actually, no, let's do the next 4 teams and then we'll make the announcement at the end. We've got one of the bosses to reveal today, which I think will come as a surprise to a few people. Maybe not a surprise to others, but it's going to be interesting to see at the end of this. So let's dive into, if we can bring up the current battles that are live on screen, please, producer. We need to give Don a cool producer name, you know. All right, here it is. The Babes in Blue taking on 3 Gregs and a Karen. That'll be an interesting matchup. Blue taking on the pink.
Yeah, kind of roles reverse there, boys against girls, but it's the female team owner against the male team owner. But yeah, we are all about breaking down barriers, defying stereotypes and expectations. So here's the Babes in Blue against 3 Gregs and a Karen.
Yeah, and just so that everybody's aware, it is girls versus boys here because Karen in the 3 Gregs and a Karen team identifies as a male. So it's a little bit of lore that was unrevealed. But now that we're doxing everything and getting it all out in the open and airing everything, it's just important to note that all of the players in 3 Gregs and a Karen do identify as male. So
our producer's previewing the lore. So yeah, always check the lore on these things as you're going in and placing your votes. Both of these team owners have provided interesting lore. On Babes in Blue, we've got kind of like a Web3 rally cry, battle cry. And for 3 Gregs and a Karen, we've got kind of a funny Greg moment recreated as lore.
It seems to have resonated with the community. I really thought that was just going to be one that we would laugh about internally, and that was that. But it seems to have resonated with the community, which is surprising. So we'll see what sort of propaganda comes from these 2 teams over the next 21 hours and 37 minutes, and what that final result might look like. So a big match up there for a chance to take on a boss. Let's move on to the next battle, please, Don. We have... Here's the other Siren squad, right? Serenity Prayer taking on Blue Angels. So again, is that a DRX set taking on the Siren squad? It is indeed, and a really nicely curated one, the Blue Angels.
Yeah, both of these have some real nice curation going on. Blue Angels going for the all dark blue background and Serenity Prayer with the diagonal squares alternating. As you said, Serenity Prayer is a Siren squad, so nice to see that Siren's still represented here in the contest. But Blue Angels is a DRX set with all celestial traits, all angel wings. So really, really nice, impressive curating there. These are 2 kingpins up against each other, so we can't, there's no concern that one, had more of an advantage than the other. These guys are both working with a lot of assets at their disposal. It's at this point in the competition, it's just, they're too hard to call. If you asked me to pick, I couldn't tell you which one is favorite in this matchup. So yeah, this is good.
Yeah. And Don, just highlighting the lore there that calls him out specifically. I think he is quietly looking forward to an opportunity to take on Serenity Prayer as a result of the lore. But we'll see how the chips will fall. Good luck to those 2 teams.
So the first line in Serenity Prayer, just to bring you all in, says, "Drug Lords, grant me the serenity to kick I Am Dawn's ass." And you can read the rest from there. Just it's open in the battle arena now. But yeah, that's fun. And if Serenity Prayer keeps advancing, right there, Dawn has still got a team in the tournament, so it could happen. You could have the opportunity to kick I Am Dawn's ass.
Indeed. Well, good luck to those 2 team owners as we move into Battle 3, where we see the 4 Eyes of Oz, which I believe is the last of the Tyler Shields trait Ruby Red Slippers team, taking on Pinkies in the Brain, who has been one of the favorites for propaganda, in my opinion.
Yeah, Pinkies in the Brain has been delivering great propaganda. 4 Eyes of Oz, as you mentioned, is from the Tyler Trait Alliance. And Tyler is one of the bosses. So I've heard that there are people still in the tournament kind of clamoring and hoping to face off Tyler. But how interesting would it be if 4 Eyes of Oz from the Tyler Trait Alliance advance and face Tyler as their boss?
Mhm.
But they've got to get through Pinkies in the Brain first, and that is no small task.
That
Pinkies in
is.
the Brain has been very active. It's a nice card. It's nice lore, and as you mentioned, Tyler, they've been putting out great propaganda. So the next 24 hours will be critical. Hopefully, both these team owners are up to the task and will be getting their propaganda out there.
Yes, and as you pointed out in the last round, this is another kingpin taking on another kingpin. So it was kind of brought to our attention in Twitter Spaces yesterday, but there seems to be a bit of a weight to the kingpins in the battles so far, with few big pharma or set trippers left in the game. So see how we go. If that makes any difference to the way people are voting, be interesting to see.
I want to make a quick minor technical note, but talking about the kingpins. So kingpins have access to all of the cards except for the boss cards, which means the highest, kind of the most exclusive card that they have access to is the gold or the orange card, the kingpin card. But in this case, and producer Dawn, yeah, you can leave it up. But so although they're both kingpins, both of them have decided to forego the gold frame and are both using the set tripper blue frame, and it makes sense, right there. This is the whole point of curating, is you're picking the card you think best complements your teams. And I'll be interested to see how the bosses take advantage or not of the opportunity
the
to
boss
use their
cards.
purple cards, right? Because the bosses have access to every card. They can use the kingpin gold card, they can use the big pharma green card, but they can also use the boss purple card, which no one else has had access to. So using the purple card will be kind of a flex, but it could be that some of these bosses decide that purple is just not the right color for their team. So yeah, it's something I'll kind of be keeping an eye on.
Absolutely. Okay. Good luck to those two teams taking on the opportunity to fight off a boss.
And I'm a boss, and I'll definitely be using the purple card. So,
oh, there's a bit of alpha right there. We haven't revealed the boss teams yet. I think everybody's curious to see what the boss teams look like, which will be revealed in very, very near future. All right, let's bump through and have a look at the final matchup in the final round of 16, which is Make Love Not War taking on High Day the 13th. And interestingly here, the last remaining big pharma taking on a kingpin again. So it will be interesting to see how people vote here. The Jason mask coming through.
Well, Trevor, and that's not even the most interesting thing about this matchup. So I'm just going to read you a little bit of Make Love Not War, the lore in this. But with all this talk of war in these troubling times, we tend to forget that love conquers all. Make Love Not War is an anti-war slogan commonly associated with American counterculture. But for these two power couples, it's become their way of life. Escaping to a couple's retreat just before the dawn of drug wars, these four chose to disassociate themselves from the crowd of violent, prize-thirsty snugglers and set out on a mission to spread love. Okay, so this is all about spreading love, not war. It's about these couples retreating from the toil of war. And what do we have here, Trevor? But a matchup between husband and wife. This is Nicely versus his own wife. And so, despite all that talk about, make love, not war, couples sticking together, here they are pitted against one another in a battle. So we'll see how well that credo, that cry to make love, not war, holds up. This is truly a house divided.
And not only that, right? But High Day the 13th is about choosing violence. So on the one hand, we've got choose peace and love, and on the other, it's all about choosing violence. So yeah, it definitely is a house divided with two very, very different approaches to team lore and team structure. It'll be interesting to see. But I just can't shake the feeling that, somebody in the Nicely household is going to win this, right? Like the winner in this battle is going to be the Nicely household. But someone's progressing through from that family, right? To take on a battle, to take on a boss.
If Nicely wins, then there is no winning. There's no way for him to win.
He's in the doghouse either way.
Exactly right. So, and I'm curious how he's going to approach propaganda, because if you remember in the last round when he faced off the Masqueraders, he put out that propaganda with basically like,
beating the shit out of them.
exactly. Yeah.
Taking the
So
head off.
how's he going to go at his wife? You better tread lightly here nicely.
Yeah, he's in the comments saying if I lose, it's because I let her win. I don't know about that, bro. I think you have to be very careful. I think you'd be very, prudent to remain quiet. This is not around to let your propaganda fly, friend.
You better hope you don't win.
Yeah. What would be hilarious is if there's a bounty on one of those, right? Not only does one of them take the other down, but gets a prize for doing it.
It could happen too.
It could happen. Okay, so very exciting stuff. It's so cool to be in the boss rounds and moving into that part of the competition, because once we drop from boss rounds, it's really heavy hitter against heavy hitter. I mean, it is already, but it's really getting into the business end, and it's going to come thick and fast. I think there's only a matter of days until we find out who wins this thing once we kick into those rounds. Interestingly, we've decided, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, we've decided to allow those battles. So post the boss round, or even the boss round battles as well, will be running for 48 hours rather than 24. So giving people more time between their matches, or more time to develop and drum up support, develop propaganda, and I guess build the anticipation around who's going to take out these final matchups.
And to get the votes in, get the word out, get the votes in. Yeah, we want to make sure everyone's got time to weigh in on these and have their vote counted.
So this is the last round of 24-hour battles in the competition. From here on in, they all move to 48 hours. So good luck to all of the teams playing today or over the next 21 hours or so.
Trevor, are the boss battles 24 hours or 48?
I believe the boss battles are 48. I will need to go to the documentation just to confirm that. One moment. And speaking of bosses, we do have a small announcement to make right now, which is we are going to reveal one of the bosses that we've been keeping our cards close to our chest on. So just as I scroll through, I'm looking at the wrong document. Here they are. So actually, no, my mistake. I've just checked the documentation. The boss battles will run for 24 hours, and then everything moves into 48. So so round 4 is the boss battles. 8 teams fighting 8 bosses, 2 fights running concurrently for 24 hours. So it'll only be 2 fights at a time, not 4.
Yeah, exactly.
For 24 hours. And then we move into round 5, where we have 4 fights running concurrently again, but over a 48-hour period. So so the boss battles will take a little longer to work through, but we're only doing 2 at a time to give people time to gear up. And tomorrow we will know who all of the bosses are. So all the bosses will be revealed, including most likely boss cards for almost all of them. I think we're keeping 1 or 2 up our sleeve just as a little bit of a surprise and delight. And all of the division announcements, so you'll know who you're going up against this time tomorrow if you've made it through into the boss round. So a gripping 24 hours ahead of us. And on that note, who is the mystery boss, or one of the final mystery bosses to be announced? Producer Don, let's have it.
Cool.
Crypto walkers are in the house. Yeah, so as part of our slowly blooming and developing relationship with crypto walkers, and most of the people who are listening probably already aware of that relationship that we've got with those guys. So no massive surprise to see them taking part, but I've seen their team, and they've put up a pretty strong team. It's going to be interesting to see how well whoever goes up against crypto walkers goes in that boss round. But yes, crypto walkers is one of the bosses in the Drug Wars. Very cool. Look forward to seeing that team too. Yeah, so we do know already that we've got yourself, Brooke, and Tyler. So the 3 Drug Overlords are bosses in the competition. Drug Lords. Sorry, Drug Lords. Are bosses in the competition. And now we know that we also have crypto walkers. So that leaves us with 3 to announce. So yes, over the. You'll keep an eye on our comms channels, keep an eye on our socials, and make sure you tune in tomorrow for the recap. And all will be revealed over the next 24 hours as to who those mystery bosses remain and who is going to be matched up against whom. And I hope I got that right.
I don't want to be a brat, but we did announce one on our podcast.
Mm-hmm. But we won't recap that now because if you weren't listening to the podcast, you can go back and listen to it on the podcast. In fact, just looking at the podcast title might give you an understanding of who that boss might be. So they'll be announced. That won't be a massive surprise, but there's definitely a couple left that will be, I think, a significant surprise for most people. So just let the speculation begin. Who do you think the final two mystery bosses are? Drop a comment below or jump into our Discord and let the speculations begin.
All right, cool. Awesome.
Nice one. That's our recap. That's our no cap recap, because no cap features on nearly every one of these episodes these days. And so I messed that up. That's the open track. I thought that was going to be such a beautiful tie into the closing track, but the closing track is Drug Wars, who also just took out their battle and is moving on to face a boss
and to face the other Metastar
and to face no cap. Yeah, that's going to be a pretty exciting matchup. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Shout out to Denny. Nicely done in the crowd. Thank Sean Sabarese. Metaverse D's in the house. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you all again tomorrow and talk to you in the Discord. Have an awesome day. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Ciao.
Get your votes in.
Ciao. Get your votes in.
Attention, citizens of the drug receipt community. The floodgates have opened. The games have begun.